What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Adex providing you with another trade recap video. In this video, we'll take a look at our CVX trade from yesterday's Lotto Friday that netted us over 200% on our contracts. This video covers the live breakdown while in the trade, as well as the analysis the night before as we were creating the watch list. After all, wouldn't it be better to show you before and after charts? Of course it is. Make sure to like, comment, and follow for more videos like this. And if you want to trade with the team at AdexTrades, make sure to check out the link in the bio. Now on to the trade recap. Energy was the first thing I looked at. I was like, yep, for that gap fill play tomorrow. Oh, you good? No, you are good. Don't even worry about it. But yeah, 2 up tomorrow on the day. Similar to ES, kind of how like ES had this structure. You know how I like to compare charts to each other. How you had like this rounded bottom right here. You have like this kind of, wait, what did I see? I saw it on the, I think it was on hour. So similar to ES, how we had, if you have this come right where we start. So we bounce off this trend line, bounce up, bounce off this trend line and immediately reverse up, bounce off this trend line, immediately reverse up. You have this rounded bottom here, and then it finally goes up. I kind of see the same thing for XLE, right? A rounded bottom compared to these ones. And so I'm thinking this actually busts through and actually goes to the upside. You also have your trend line break here as well. So I'm looking for that tomorrow. And then if that happens tomorrow, XLE is setting up for potential gap fill play going into next week. But I know you're already positioned in that. So
CVX.
Yes, sir.
CVX had the inside day.
CVX had the inside day?
Double inside day. 311.
Oh, baby. No way.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. With the gap. Oh, yeah. Oh, you already know. I don't have anything else to say. You already have your gap fill target to the upside potentially if we get that 3112 up. I like CL. Like I said, CL futures. We kind of went into the gap already, the first one, but we can still complete it and we have another gap to the upside. So if remember, depending on how tomorrow closes, CL and XLE may be setting up for another run going into next week, but tomorrow will be vital. If we can get that gap, this gap fill play to the upside tomorrow, then I will like for that continuation for that gap to 90 for the following week. So pay attention to XLE if this is indeed, we've been talking about it, C's been talking about it, Abby's been talking about it. This demand zone bounce has so far been holding. The
212 ramp on the 4-day chart too.
On the 4-day? Oh yeah, that's beautiful. And that's a 4-day trigger at demand zone. Come on now. These are the type of plays where like these type of A+ setups where you have an actionable signal right at that zone where they bounced it off previously. So that gives you, just like how Abby talked about it previously, how price likes to repeat itself, history repeats itself, and things like that. When you see that, they did it before, they wicked it before, wicked. Now it's giving you an actionable signal to take it back to the upside with gap fill targets to the upside. That gives me that confidence to like, you know what? I'm down to put my money where my mouth is until it reverses and says, nope, never mind, you know? So yeah.
Not you well, young Padawan.
But nah, this is beautiful. This
levels to keep in mind is 50% of the day we're above that, 50% of the week we're above that. We have 50% of the quarterly at 166.22. We are below that, but we are above the 65-50%.
I love it. Going back to energy, CVX. Shout out to C's for pointing out CVX. 311 on the day. So that's the one I'm going to be paying attention to the most. But understand with energy, when energy says she wants to run, usually they all run, and you just got to find the one that has relative strength, because one day it's going to be ZOM, the next day it's going to be CVX, the next day it's going to be Oxy. CVX is the one that's most weighted in XLE. So usually when you see XLE on a beam, CVX is usually on a beam too. Okay. So that's CVX. How do you know, like when a play triggers, like what makes you confident to like take that setup? I said it depends on the plan you had the night before. Because of the fact that we knew, like as soon as we saw CVX, we said, oh, yep, good to go for tomorrow, right? Immediately, right? You want to put in enough work to be able to trust your intuition, right? And what he means by that is that feeling you get when you see a setup, when you're like, oh, this is about to go up or this is about to go down, right? That immediate feeling, you want to be able to trust that feeling. right? Put in enough work to when you see a chart, you know, oh, yep, it's going up or down, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It can gap down tomorrow, but you're still confident that it's going to do what it needs to do, right? CVX is that perfect example. Double inside bar on the daily. You had XLE with the gap fill to the upside. We said if XLE goes 2 up, it's CVX is going up, right? And then what did I say? Look at XLE to help you with the play. As long as XLE is continuing into its gap fill, that gives you more confluence and more confidence to hold CVX. That is why we hold plays from open to close, and there's nothing we can do about it but then just waiting till literally it just goes up. You're gonna have to deal with the TTOs, the 30-minute TTO, that hour inside candle. You're gonna have to deal with it. But as long as XLE is pushing up on its daily candle into the gap fill, CVX will continue to make new highs and try to push up into its gap fill. Once you start to see an actionable signal that XLE is probably done, or you're gonna see some buyer exhaustion, usually you're gonna see it at a fib retracement, a fib level, or 50% of the previous, which is also a fib level. Those are the areas that you'll see a possible actionable signal or market participants where they want to possibly come down now. But until then, no, do not get out of the play. Take it to target, have a plan, and once that plan, and that's like once you go into the day, like this is the plan, and everything aligns up, you take it. CVX didn't even trigger inside day yet, but we were already 50% of the previous day. We knew where CVX was going to head today. We knew that. So that's why it's like, okay, because we know that CVX is going to be heading towards 165 towards its gap fill, let's get into some calls. Beauty about XLE and beauty about sector rotation in general is that if you know that sector is about to go off, you can play anything. So I chose CVX because I like that 311. Zom, there was nothing wrong with taking Zom either because it had an inside hammer. So if you guys are looking at my screen, this is my, obviously you can see like I have this screen, I have another screen, and then I have another one that I'm using. But this is what I do to pretty much help me guide me through the market. So I'm looking at NQ futures, looking at ES futures, looking at CL futures, looking at different sectors as well. On my third screen, I have the other 6 other sectors, and then I have my main screen that I take my plays on, right? So while CVX is going up, I'm looking at XLE and CL. As long as CL is pushing up and XLE is pushing up, I'm good to go. As AAL is pushing up, what am I looking at? I'm looking at Jets right here at the bottom, right? So you have AA right here, and then I have Jets to help me with AA. So as Jets goes up to in its gap, right? 2 up on the in its gap, then I'm like, all right, cool. AA is good to go. Still keep going. While XLE, look at what's happening with CL right now. CL is giving you a new high of the day for CL. CL has a gap fill play to $79.85. Why can't it get there, right? So because I'm confident, even if it doesn't get there, but I'm continue to hold on to your plays because you have your targets to the upside. As long as it's showing relative strength, as long as XLE is showing that it's going up as well, then you're good to go. Then it's going to help you with CVX, and that's how CVX starts pushing up as well. CVX 103%, and we knew this since yesterday, right after market close. That's a free trade. You're up 110% on CVX, y'all.
I wanted to take XLB calls in a minute. That's what I really wanted.
Bro, I was literally just saying that like 30 minutes ago. I was like, why didn't we were looking at XLE so much, and like that chart probably had the best setup out of all the XLE stocks. It was like, I don't know why I didn't take XLE itself. If you guys want to be honest, the way XLE is setting up right now, like, is like this could go to take out those gaps back at 90. Like XLE setting up for next week, possible continuation in the next week. You have this gap right here. Give me 1 second. This 50%. Okay, so we're approaching 50%, which is going to be at $87.01. I expect to see some resistance there, but ultimately, if we don't fill the gap today, XLE is setting up to like fill it either like next week. Especially with CL futures, or CL. Yeah, look at CL on the daily. This is insane. This is insane.
Looks good, thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. Yeah, if not today, I'm bullish on oil going into next week. Like, I know this sounds crazy, right? But I just think of it like this. It's only 9 o'clock. If XLE gets a close above the 50% of the gap, it could still continue today. I don't know, because it's already been pushing up, but that's why you just got to look at that technical level. If you're not getting an actionable signal on at least, Like I would do like an hour. You would need like an hour, probably like a 2-2 rev on the hour to possibly, all right, now the play is done. But if you're not getting that 2-2 rev on the hour, this may not be done today. I mentioned to Alex that I had a price target at 164.32. Where did I get that price target from? Previous day's wicks, right?
For the day, yeah.
Previous day wicks. For anyone asking, oh, how do you find your price targets? I use those previous days wicks. I use Fibonacci retracement levels and Fibonacci levels and pivots, pretty much, essentially. Those are where I get my wicks from. Because what I expect market participants to be at these levels. So I expect people to take profit at this wick. I expect people to take profit at this wick. I expect people to take profit at this wick as well. All right, and that is where, so when you say, oh, I'm trimming here, we're about to breach a price target, it's because we're reaching a level where previous resistance or support was, or market participants or orders, if that makes sense. If you look at the pivots, you are approaching so please, is why I hope you did trim. We are approaching a weekly R1, weekly R1 and a daily R2. So you expect resistance here at this level, which is why you trim at this level. And now if you look at the 15 minute, you see that we're now inside 15, kind of like a shooter. All right. Okay. And then now look at this. Now you might get a 2-2 rev off the 15. And where did that occur? That occurred off this price target that we had at 164.32, and that occurred right when it hit this weekly R1 and this weekly daily R2. This is why my charts have those pivots as well as the price targets from the previous days and things like that, because I want to see all places that you could possibly reject. Right, so I know to trim. That's why I say trim at 163.432, and I'll also say trim at 164.44. Why at 164.44? Or because we have a daily pivot there, according to the pivot point standard indicator.